find somewhere to hide, find something to read. Peace. Time is out of joint. So our review for Philip K. Dick, Time Out of Joint. This was a fun book. What's up? What's going on? High to read. Everything is all mixed up. What can you do? Especially after reading Recursion and then following it up with Time Out of Joint. Yeah, my timeline is all funny now, but why not, right? So, as usual, I'm not going to spoil the plot, not really even going to talk too much about the plot. I just want to give you enough to think about, and if it sounds interesting, you can look further or just go grab the book. I would just go grab the book. Philip K. Dick, Time Out of Joint. These SF Masterworks are so cool. I might collect these. I'm not sure. It held up. It held up during the read. Like, the spine is really solid, and I wasn't too careful. We'll see. I'll get something maybe a little bit bigger and see how the books do, and then yeah, another collection. Anyway, so Time Out of Joint is Philip K. Dick's first like serious novel. Before that, he was writing for I think mostly just like this, like ace doubles kind of stuff, you know. And I mean, basically all this stuff is heavily edited, and they paid these authors, you know, ahead of time probably to write a lot of this stuff. And they, you know, it's fan service basically. Like, they knew who was reading it. They knew what you know, they were gonna buy. It's fan service, and it's pretty cool because you get to see like what, you know. Ooh, excuse me, some warm one. You know, this is what was selling. They knew what was selling. They knew their audience. So, but Philip K. Dick didn't want to write books that were, you know, mimetic like that, basically, because he wanted to break out of this kind of stuff. He was writing, I think, maybe more serious fiction while he was like doing this kind of stuff, and I don't think none of it got published. I don't know if it's been published, but it's not sci-fi. It's just, I think it's like literature kind of things, but none of that stuff got published. This is the first thing he got published, and it's kind of a blend of like that literature and sci-fi. So it's very mundane, and then all of a sudden something happens, and you're kind of taken out of that mundane surface reality, and then you have to question all this stuff that you were taking for granted. And honestly, that's one of my favorite parts about reading fiction. I think that's why I like Louis L'Amour so much, because the characters will be so plain, and you're like, oh, I know this character. I know like already how he's going to behave. And then he or she breaks out of the mold, and just like an instant, and you're kind of snapped out of this like cookie cutter Western thing that you built up in your mind, and then it just gets destroyed. So I love that aspect of any kind of fiction. And in this one, it's a post World War II, like 1950s. You know, that's the ideal time for us in America. That's like, you know, the white picket fence and all that stuff. And that's the setting of this story. And the main character, he makes a living by entering this certain newspaper contest where he has to predict the location of this little green man. And nobody's able to predict it like him. He's always, you know, he's like I think he's always correct, and he always wins the prize. I they don't really understand how he's getting the locations, and he just kind of has his like own loose like association way of doing it. Kind of like if you were going to solve algebra problems without the formula. Like there's enough information there and you just have to put everything together and then check your work. So that's what he does to find this little green man. He makes a living that way, but it's kind of like mundane and boring to him. It doesn't mean anything. So well, what happens? Time starts falling out of joint, and he's like questioning his own sanity, basically. But at the same time, he notices that for other people too, that time is out of joint, and they're sharing this kind of like schizophrenic delusion that he's having. That reality is fading away, and so you're not really sure what the like is the character. He's a very what you would call like an unreliable narrator, and so you're gonna follow him, and you're trying to figure it out too, what exactly is going on, because there's like little details that aren't really adding up. But like I said, everything is so mundane. Yeah, questioning it makes you feel kind of crazy, and he does such a good job of that. I'm kind of amazed, honestly, how boring and exciting that this book was at the same time. Um, Hopefully that doesn't scare you away from it. The payoff at the end is really cool, and even that is kind of like open, and like you know it still leaves a lot of stuff to think about. So I'm definitely gonna be reading more Philip K. Dick. I, I'm having this weird thing where I felt like I've read this author before, but whenever I think that I did, I'm like thinking of like Kurt Vonnegut or something. So I'm not sure if I read any of his books, but I'll definitely be reading more. So if you have one that you liked, as usual, please suggest it. If you have any experience with the author, let me know. Or maybe you have schizophrenic delusions and time is falling out of joint and you want to share it with us, feel free. Yeah, otherwise I think I'm going to read something maybe a little bit more mundane, because after Recursion, wow, this one was crazy too, and then Time Out of Joint, I need something like a little bit more grounding. So maybe we'll read some comic books or something. I don't know. I gotta accept my own challenge, the Johnstone challenge. Maybe we'll do that. That's pretty grounded. And yeah. Until next time, guys, it's always fun. Oh, wait, we started backwards. What's up? What's going on? Hide and read. Peace.